At the police station, Lee Byung-chan tells Detective Song Jae-ik that he created the virus to protect his son from his tormentors, and that everyone is now going to die. Outside the school, Lee Soo-hyuk watches several zombies jump out of the science room window after Lee Cheong-san. Soo-hyuk jumps across to join Cheong-san on the fire hose, narrowly avoiding a zombie jumping from an upper floor, and the two climb down to the broadcast room together. Lee Na-yeon tries to get the students to close the window before the two of them can get back in, and after she argues with Han Jong-soo, the students tell teacher Park Sun-hwa that Na-yeon hates Jong-soo because his family is poor and on welfare. Sun-hwa tells the students that they can't fight in a situation like this, and that they should instead band together to survive until help comes. Cheong-san says no one is coming, and Na Mon-jo realizes that the virus began with Kim Hyun-ju. The students in the broadcasting room use the room's computer to log into Facebook, and discover that the virus has reached Hyo-san. When they go to check their messages, the window is suddenly broken by the fire hose. Cheong-san investigates and finds a zombie with its foot caught in one of the nooses. Cheong-san and Soo-hyuk try to fend the zombie off with a broken mop handle, and inadvertently hit Gyeong-soo in the nose with the other end. Gyeong-soo panics, and throws the computer at the zombie, making it fall to the ground and scratching his wrist on the broken window glass in the process. At the government building, Nam Soju examines one of Assemblywoman Park Yoon-hee's aides, who has turned into a zombie. Soju and the other firefighters try to gag the aide so that he doesn't bite his tongue, and the aide manages to bite firefighter Park Young-hwan as he puts the cloth in the zombie's mouth. A Level 3 disaster is announced, and Soju is ordered to report to temporary headquarters to help evacuate the city. Back in the broadcasting room, Na-yeon sees Gyeong-soo's scratch and bloody nose and accuses him of being infected. The others do not believe that he could have been infected by a scratch, but Sun-hwa agrees to isolate him in the recording booth for 30 minutes to make sure. If after 30 minutes Gyeong-soo is still not a zombie, she tells Na-yeon that she expects her to apologize to him. In the kitchen, Yoon Gui-nam is hiding with Shin Hyung-seo under a counter. He decides to try and escape, pushing Hyung-seo to his death to distract the zombies and using a cook who tries to offer him shelter as a human shield. He finds a kitchen knife and is able to use it to stab a zombie to death. Cheong-san's mother and father are busy preparing the restaurant for its grand opening. The new logo has Cheong-san's face on it, and his father tells his mother that it's a bad idea before leaving to submit some paperwork. Cheong-san's mother catches a TV broadcast telling all Hyosan residents to evacuate the city due to a dangerous new virus, and after her calls to the school office go unanswered, because the office is full of zombies, she gets on the delivery bike to drive over and find her son. Soju gets a call from his supervisors, who tell him that the zombie virus is transmitted through bites. He realizes that Young Hwan is about to turn, and turns to see him getting a nosebleed and spitting blood over his colleague, Kim Woo-sin. Young Hwan collapses and turns into a zombie, but Soju and Woo-sin are able to restrain him before he can bite anyone. Outside, the riot police line up at Hyosan intersection to try and stop the virus getting further into the city. They turn Cheong-san's mother away, forcing her to take a route through the back streets, where she almost hits Hee-soo. Having crashed the bike to avoid her, Cheong-san is forced to limp towards the school on foot. In the girls' toilets, Park Mi-jin and Jang Ha-ri sit on the boys' shoulders to try and see what's happening through the high windows. Mi-jin antagonizes Ha-ri and Jung Min-jae, but Yoo Jun-seong tells her to stop, and the pair start putting together makeshift weapons as the archers check their gear. The students in the broadcasting room discuss their situation, and Cheong-san tries to coax Jung-soo to come out of the recording booth by whistling Auld Lang Syne against the window. Although it has now been more than 30 minutes, Jung-soo refuses to leave, even when Sun-hwa tries to draw him outside. Sun-hwa then reminds Na-yeon of her promise to apologize, and Na-yeon seemingly accepts it, going into the recording booth alone. She angles herself away from the windows, and instead of apologizing, she insults Jung-soo and rubs a handkerchief soaked in zombie blood over the scratches on his hand. Gyeong-soo turns, and Na-yeon demands that they kick him out. Towards the evening, Gyeong-soo gets worse, and he tries to leave the room but is unable to open the door. And after hallucinating that the other students are laughing at him, he attacks them. Cheong-san lures him to the window by whistling Auld Lang Syne again, and uses the fire hose to swing out of the way as Gyeong-soo lunges at him and falls to the ground below. Cheong-san starts to cry as he watches the now fully zombified Gyeong-soo run off into the night. In the government office, Park Yoon-hee asks how long it will take for them to be evacuated. Soju tells her that VIPs are a lower priority than vulnerable citizens. He tries to call Anjo, then pages the fire department for an update on the area around Hyosun High, but receives no response from either. The students mourn Gyeongsu's death, believing that he turned due to an infection from the window glass. However, Choi Nam-ra announces that she watched Na-yeon soak her handkerchief in zombie blood, then rub it into Gyeongsu's cuts, effectively murdering him. Na-yeon insists the blood on the handkerchief is Gyeongsu's, but Nam-ra calls her bluff and tells her to rub it against a cut on her own leg. As the other students turn against her, Na-yeon breaks down in tears and runs from the room. Sunhwa follows her, telling the other students to stay alive and to never kill a human being, no matter what. A zombie horde chases Na-yeon, attracted by the sound of her crying, and Sunhwa tries to drag her away. The vlogger Orangiberish is live streaming a trip to Hyosun to see if the zombie rumors are true. The roads are blocked by heavy traffic, and Orangiberish leaves his car to hike up the mountain and put on his helmet and other gear. He can then be seen running through Hyosun after nightfall, chased by zombies. His chat seems to be torn between belief and skepticism, even after seeing the zombies on screen. Lee Cheong-san's mother manages to reach the school gates, despite her leg injury. She manages to climb the wall into the school grounds, and on seeing Han Gyeong-su, she calls out to him. The zombified Gyeong-su attacks her, and her screams attack other nearby zombies, who swarm and overwhelm her. Meanwhile, Lee Cheong-san tells Nam On-jo that his parents are probably back at the restaurant, because that's the most important thing to his mother, even in an apocalypse. Although they are both at the broadcasting room window, neither of them can see or hear what is happening on the field. The students wonder what happened to Lee Na-yeon and their teacher Park Sun-hwa after the two of them went into the corridor, as nobody heard either of them scream. They also realize that they need to use the bathroom, but they can't leave the broadcasting room. On the school roof, Min Yoon-ji and Kim Cheol-soo look out over the field together. Woon-ji says that the helicopters are circling overhead but not landing because nobody cares about the school. They are on their own. Cheol-soo says someone will save them, then says that he, like Yoon-ji, wants the school to burn down and kill everyone. Woon-ji says that she still wants to die, but Cheol-soo says that is only because she badly wants to live. Nam So-ju announces that the government is sending a helicopter to pick up Assemblywoman Park Yoon-hee and her aides from the roof at 11 a.m. the next morning. The group beds down and begins setting up a makeshift toilet and sleeping area, as the Hyosun school group does the same in the recording studio. The students agree to rest for the night and see what happens in the morning, but at the government building, Soju tells Eun-hee he is leaving to try and find his daughter, Anjo. Eun-hee takes him aside and reminds him that her staff have family and loved ones nearby. She argues that if she allows him to leave, she would have to allow them to leave too, and if she allows them to leave, they will die. She also reminds him that their primary duty is to the civilians around them, not to their own families. Yoon Gui-nam tries to escape the school with a kitchen knife and a bicycle, but is surrounded by zombies and forced to retreat to the principal's office. Orangiberish starts another live stream, telling his followers that the city is pure hell and there are no emergency services. His chat mocks him for going, and he breaks down, begging them to like and subscribe now that he's put himself in danger for their entertainment. He breaks into the kindergarten to seek shelter, but is chased back out by a horde of zombie children who surround him and trap him at the top of a climbing frame. Detective Song Jae-ik berates Lee Byung-chan for the bloodshed he's caused with his virus. Byung-chan is unmoved, saying that the whole world is violent and complicit in the death of his son, Lee Jin-soo. No one helped when Jin-soo was being bullied, even after the boy attempted suicide. It is revealed through flashbacks that Jin-soo refused to fight back. This infuriated Byung-chan, and he created the virus to force Jin-soo to defend himself. Song Jae-ik admits he may have had a role in Jin-soo's death and the violence in society, but argues that if Byung-chan wanted the world to change, he should have done it without inflicting more violence and killing even more people. He asks Byung-chan where the antidote is, or any other records related to treating the virus, but Byung-chan says there are none. At this moment, the police station is overrun by zombies, and as Jae-ik tries to evacuate Byung-chan, they are attacked by zombified police officers and prisoners in the corridor. Byung-chan watches Jae-ik try to defend him and seems to have a change of heart. He pulls a zombie off Jae-ik, although he is bitten in the process, and tells him that his laptop with all his research notes is in the science lab at Hyosun High School. Jae-ik tries to drag him to safety, but Byung-chan pushes him towards an emergency exit and stays behind to act as a human shield against the horde, screaming at Jae-ik to leave. Jae-ik escapes through a fire exit and manages to navigate the station car park, now full of half-restrained zombie prisoners from the evacuation. He rescues another officer, Jean Ho-chul, and the pair leave the car park together. Byung-chan reanimates inside the police station, his steady gait indicating that he may have become a half-bi. The next morning, the students in the broadcasting room and girls' toilets begin to wake up and discuss their next steps. The students in the broadcasting room decide they need more information to plan their next steps, and decide to try and retrieve a mobile phone from the school office, where confiscated phones were kept during the school day. On the roof, Min Yoon-ji also decides to go to the school office, after Cheol-soo tells her that the half-naked video of her on Guinam's phone will be uploaded to Facebook at 9 a.m., as he never had a chance to pay their bullies the bribe they demanded. Cheol-soo tells her they'll die if they leave the roof, but Yoon-ji calls him a coward and leaves without him. Yoon-ji is chased down and repeatedly bitten by zombies, but manages to crawl out from under the horde and staggers to the teacher's office. Cheong-san and Soo-hyuk overhear the attack and use the distraction to sneak into the office, but by the time they find the phones, Yoon-ji has begun destroying them all. When Cheong-san tries to take a phone, Yoon-ji sees and attacks him, but after Soo-hyuk defends him and grabs a second phone, the two are separated by zombies. Cheong-san tells Soo-hyuk he'll meet him back at the broadcasting room before running from the office. Guinam falls asleep in the principal's own armchair before being woken by the principal himself. The principal asks how it is outside, and tells Guinam to fetch his car from the parking lot and drive them both to safety. When Guinam refuses, the principal tries to grab his knife, but Guinam snatches it back and threatens him with it. Soju's group prepares to leave their office and head to the roof to meet the helicopter. They fight the zombies off using metal cupboards and a fire hose, but the hose runs out of water before firefighter Kim Woo-sin and the aides can break the lock on the door to the roof. Soju is attacked but not bitten, and the group manages to reach the helicopter safely. Cheong-san reaches the principal's office just as Guinam is about to stab the principal in the neck. Cheong-san uses the stolen phone to film Guinam, telling him he'll call the police on him. Guinam slits the principal's throat and demands that Cheong-san hand over the phone. When Cheong-san refuses, Guinam attacks him and chases him into the corridor, where he throws the knife at him,